How I'm a stay-at-home mom while my husband is a teacher. Yes, we survive on a teacher's salary and I get to stay home with the babies. Here's how we do it. It takes a lot of sacrifice.
I am a stay-at-home mom. We live on one income. These are ways that we save money.
We're a single income household that's trying to live on a budget, and some of you guys asked how we're able to save enough money to pay off most of our debt and purchase a home, all while living off of one income.
Where my mama is living off of one income when their husband's not like a doctor or a lawyer or something else that makes bukus of dollars.
I get asked often enough, like, how do you guys do this on one income? I know a lot of you are not going to like to hear this, but it's his job to make money. It's not mine.
How I'm a stay-at-home mom while my husband is a teacher. Yes, we survive on a teacher's salary and I get to stay home with the babies. Here's how we do it. It takes a lot of sacrifice. For starters, we drive 2 paid off old vehicles, okay? We're not trying to be bigger and better and newer than everybody else. We have a 2015 car and a 2017 car. We also don't use the latest and greatest iPhones. We run our phones into the ground. My husband still has an iPhone 8. His students actually make fun of him for it. I myself had an iPhone XR until it literally stopped working, and then I upgraded finally to an iPhone 16, but we have had our phones for 8 years before getting a new one. I don't really treat myself. I don't get my hair done. I don't get my nails done. I find ways to do that stuff at home. Maybe I'll box dye my hair, do a gloss if I want to switch up my hair. If we want to treat ourselves, we try and find things that are covered by insurance. So for example, when we want massages, we find a chiropractic masseuse place where our insurance covers those massages, and then it's a treat for ourselves that's covered by our insurance. Me personally, I don't really buy into all the skincare, the makeup, the brands. You're not going to see me in Lululemon things unless it's a gift. You're going to see me wearing basic makeup, mascara, blush, and lip gloss. That's really the only makeup I wear. Cosmetics is such a big, expensive industry, and I just try not to buy into it. I try to embrace a lot of my natural beauty, and we all have natural beauty, so embrace it. We don't eat fresh every day, okay? We don't do home-cooked meals every day. We go to Costco, we buy whatever meat's on sale, and we buy it in bulk. We make a big meal that we're gonna eat throughout the week, and we freeze the rest, and that has helped us save so much on groceries. That same topic, we don't really eat out, okay? Unless we have a gift card or it's a very rare, unique experience. But what do you do for fun? We try and find free things we can do with our family. So we'll go to the rec center when they're having big events going on. We go to the public library. We search Facebook groups and Facebook events for free things going on around our town. So that way we can still have fun as a family and do things and get out of the house without having to pay a pretty penny. Have little side hustles to kind of save for fun things. So for example, I like to do social media content. I do have fun doing it. So I try and make money with social media. My husband tutors every once in a while on the side since he's a teacher, so that brings in a little extra cash for us too. On that same topic, we don't always buy new, okay? We garbage pick, we Facebook Marketplace, we go to garage sales, we go to Salvation Armies and thrift stores. Of course, we want to buy new things for our kids, and we do that at times, but also we do a lot of thrifting and garage saling, and it has saved us so much money. And my last note is that we don't throw things out. If it is salvageable, we sell it on Marketplace, even if it's for $5 to $10, okay? Cash is cash, and I will take it instead of throwing it out.
So you might have seen me over here taking notes feverishly because she dropped a lot of stuff here, and I want to make sure I touch on all of it because some of it is really good. First and foremost, I felt attacked because she emphasized how her vehicles are so old, a 2015 and 2017. Ooh, my car is a 2012 model and I still drive it till today. And I say it in plenty of videos. I bought it in 2016, 2012 Toyota Camry base model, no frills, cloth seats, no sunroof, no heated seats, no backup cam, no nothing. And I'm still driving that bad boy because I love it and it does just fine. So, I mean, 2015, 2017 isn't that bad compared to mine. iPhone 8, I'm not even sure what the newest iPhone is. I'll probably flash it on screen. I don't know what it is now, iPhone 27 or something, who knows? But I did the same thing with my phone. I had a old phone and I literally only got a new phone, which is the Galaxy 2022 after my old phone completely died out of nowhere and they couldn't revive it. There was no saving it. It was on life support apparently. I didn't recognize it and it gave out. Had it not given out, I would have still had it till today. It was like a Galaxy, it may not have been a Galaxy, it's some Android phone. Hair, nails, that's a usual thing. I hear a lot of people in these situations. They don't get their hair done, their nails done, waxing, things like this, because those things are expensive. Even a simple haircut, a fade, you know, now it's costing like $50 before tip. Insurance coverage hack, that was pretty cool. I haven't thought about that. But if you think about it, a lot of stuff that you already have, like credit cards, for example, they offer benefits and bonuses that some people don't even take advantage of. Like roadside assistance is the obvious one, or things that deal with flight discounts and things like that. Free fun and side hustles, again, kind of an obvious one that a lot of people that are in situations like this do to make it work. And then garbage picking, I had never heard that in my life. I don't know if that's a term she created or if it's an actual thing. I don't like the way it sounds, but to each their own. What really blew me away about this is that her husband is a teacher. Not that he's a teacher, that didn't blow me. What blew me away is that they're doing this on a teacher's salary, which if we know anything about teachers' salaries, it's not the highest. And to support 3 kids plus yourself and your wife, 5 people on a teacher's salary alone, is pretty impressive.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. We live on one income. These are ways that we save money. I don't get my nails done. We don't do Uber Eats. We don't do DoorDash. We utilize our free resources in our town, in our city. We go to parks. We go to the library. For our kids, we like to ask for experiences over gifts. For example, my children got a zoo membership for Christmas this year. We get majority of our clothes secondhand. I love to thrift, and so this has been a great way that I am not dropping a ton of money on new clothes all the time. I spent $100 on a espresso machine that I can make my lattes at home. That way I'm not spending money on coffees out. Also own all of our vehicles. We don't have car payments. My husband drives a tiny little beater car. I just wanted to share these things to show you what real life looks like.
A lot of stuff she said was the same as the other lady said, so I won't talk about those. But what she did say that I thought was pretty good is experiences over gifts for her children. So if you notice the theme here, a lot of these folks who are living on one income, especially a low income, which this is the point of the video, they are creative in how they make things work. So yeah, a lot of times for Christmas and birthdays and holidays where gifts are exchanged, a lot of times people give material items, toys, gift cards to go eat somewhere, you name it, clothes. But I don't think that is as common for people to gift experiences. So if you're a family like her or the one before that we saw, and you live on one low income or lower income, and you want to have experiences that you're not willing to pay for yourself, or you just simply can't afford yourself, it makes a lot of sense to ask family members and friends who are going to give you a gift anyways to just give you an experience. That's a gem. I mean, if you're someone that's thinking about how to do this or looking for ways to do this and like, oh, I don't want to give up this, or how am I going to do this? This is a great way to do it.
We're a single income household that's trying to live on a budget, and some of you guys asked how we're able to save enough money to pay off most of our debt and purchase a home, all while living off of one income. So I thought I would make a video sharing some of the things we do. The main reason why we're able to live off of one income right now, a lot of it has to do with your salary and how much you make. My husband's career requires him to work a ton of overtime for one reason or another. Probably 3 days out of the 5-day work week, he's stuck at work for 16 hours. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm a stay-at-home mom, because we never have to worry about who's going to pick up our son from daycare if one of us has to stay late for work. This gives my husband the flexibility to work as much as he needs to. Because we don't have a village or grandparents or anyone to watch our son, our only option would be daycare if we were both working. We also don't have much debt. Before we got married, we paid off all of our student loans. We also didn't have much credit card debt to begin with before we got married. With both of our debt combined, we probably owed about $15,000. We also decided to rent for the first 5 years of being married so we can work on paying off that debt. Both of our cars are completely paid off, which means we don't have a car payment. We also have not been on vacation since our honeymoon in Jamaica back in 2019. For family fun, we try to find things that are free and local. Places like the zoo or our city downtown. I also don't get my nails professionally done. I can count on my fingers how many times I got my nails done since being a stay-at-home mom. I do a lot of self-care at home. I learned to do my own hair at home instead of going to salons. I don't drink much coffee, but I am a big tea drinker, and I usually make my own tea at home. My husband, though, is a huge coffee drinker, but he makes his own coffee at home as well as cuts his own hair. Just by doing these little things saves us hundreds of dollars. We've always been pretty simple people, so cutting back on these expenses really don't affect our lives as much. Of course, everybody is different, so what works for us and our household might not work for you, and that's totally okay. We're content with our lives and how far we've come and the accomplishments we've made along the way. We also don't eat out much besides special occasions. Most of our food we make at home, and I'm trying to do better as far as planning meals for the week so we're not overbuying on groceries. One of the things that's really been helping us is making a grocery list before we shop. And as far as buying home decor or furniture for the house, when we first moved in our home, we brought our old furniture from our apartment. We're buying things slowly at a time instead of all at once, so we're not getting in debt. I'm a content creator, which means a lot of things I get for free. I also make a small amount of commission and brand deals, and this definitely helps with any extra expenses we have. With all of these things combined, this is how we've been able to live comfortably off of one income so far.
So obviously we're noticing a theme here, such as, and again, I'm taking notes as I go, no vacations or very few vacations, finding free ways to have fun, no or limited self-care, learning how to do your own hair and nails and makeup and things like that, beauty stuff, And then living a no or low debt lifestyle. A lot of these folks, they have paid off cars, older cars. They don't buy new gadgets. They don't finance things they don't have to. Like she said, when they move to their new place, a lot of people, what they may do if they can't afford the furniture all at once, they'll get loans for it. They'll put it on a credit card or they get a loan from the furniture store. Instead, they're like, we'll buy it slowly over time as we can afford it. So that's a big one there. And then a couple things she said here that are a little different than the other ones is that overtime. Overtime is great because it's basically like having a second job when you need it, whether it's part-time or full-time. Her husband works one job. I don't know what he does or how much he makes, but he makes his base salary or a base compensation, and that covers probably their essentials. Then as they need it or as they want it, he can get overtime, which is essentially, like I said, is working a second job, part-time or full-time, which is easier because it's two jobs in one instead of having to go to another place to work altogether. So I think that's very huge if you're someone who's living on one income, especially one lower income. And then she also said they're simple people. Now, that's a big one because especially if you're married, you have to be on one accord. Because if you have one person who's not about this life and they're more of a spending type, they're like, I don't want to sacrifice these things. I want to just work more, earn more money, and we can pay for these things. I'm okay working. I'm okay paying daycare even. That's fine. But obviously it's not going to work with someone who is the opposite mindset, who's like, no, I don't want to sacrifice being home to raise my kids. I don't, if that's what it is, or I don't want to, have to be in debt to do certain things. I don't want to have to work all these extra hours to take all these extra nice vacations. I'm okay being at home most of the time. I'm okay doing free stuff at the park or wherever you for free fun. So that is a huge one, having someone who's on the same mindset and of one accord with you to make this type of setup work.
Where my mama is living off of one income when their husband's not like a doctor or a lawyer or something else that makes bukus of dollars. Because if we're being completely honest, my husband has a well-paying job and don't have extra large amounts of money in savings. We definitely don't have our debt paid off, and we live pretty frugally. Like, we don't overspend on things that we don't need. Life happens. Sometimes we have to put funds on a credit card. I just don't understand. I know the cost of living is like going up, and just your regular grocery bill and things like that, utilities, house payments, all of the things, rent, mortgage, things like that are going up. So how are people truly affording things these days? I'm a mom of 2 boys. I have a loving husband who provides for us, but if we're being completely honest, like, we're barely skating by. I work on doing side hustles, and I've just recently decided that all of the side hustle income that I have is all going towards paying off debt, because emotionally and mentally, that is so heavy for me. And no, we're not over here with, multiple $1,000 homes. We don't drive, the nicest, newest cars. My car is 10 years old. We aren't overspending on crazy things. Like, we are just living life, and still somehow,
Did you guys notice something here? I noticed that she's kind of vague when she talks about all the things that they're doing and not doing. Whereas the other folks, they're very specific with what they do or don't do. They go garbage thrifting or whatever that the person said. And like the other person said, they go to free events, or they look for ways to pay for stuff using insurance coverage that they already have, or they ask for experiences over gifts, or they buy in bulk and cook at home and don't eat out. Very specific. Whereas she's not as specific. So it makes me wonder how committed her family is. It's no judgment to her, but it makes me wonder how committed her family is compared to the others and why she can't make it work. Because if you think about it, this is a family of 4. It's her husband, 2 kids. Whereas we saw someone else who was a family of 5. And it was 3 kids, her husband, who had a teacher salary. And she said her husband makes a lot of money. So if the other couple can make it happen, I don't know where they live, because that's a big part of it. Cost of living varies widely by where you are in the U.S. Obviously, I'm assuming they're all in the U.S. So that could be a big one. But obviously, the elephant in the room is the debt. As we've seen, everyone else who's living on one lower income and supporting the family has no debt. We saw the couple who intentionally paid off all their debt before they even decided to, I think, switch to one income. So, and kudos to her, she's working now with her husband to pay that debt off, which is huge. But I think that's the main factor here. That is a debt. Aside, and also in addition to the debt, is how committed are you? Are you 10 toes down in this, or are you just kind of in and out, wishy-washy with it? And again, no shade at her. I don't know what they're doing. It's just something that I'm picking up on. My spidey senses are telling me, they could tighten up a bit, pay that debt off, and they should be okay. So this is one of those where I want to hear from you in the comment section, because I'm curious to see how many people agree with her and how many don't necessarily agree with her, because nothing that she showed in this video is wrong or bad. It just comes down to what level of comfort are you okay with having, right? And I know that that's a very privileged thing to say, a very Western thing to say, a very first world thing to say, because I mean, I know people, and I have family even, who you know, they're in a different country, and comparing where they live to even the most basic place in the US is night and day. So this is like amazing to a lot of people around the world. That said, personally speaking, as someone who does like a kind of a, you know, I'm a homebody. I'm a home all the time. So I need my domicile to look a certain way. So having unfinished floors and stairs and walls and, you know, 20-year-old furniture that maybe looks like it's, you know, they probably got it like secondhand or third hand or something, which is fine. We did that when I was growing up. Stuff like that is fine. Even older toys, because a lot of them get thrown away and don't get played with anyways. I guess my point is there's a certain level of comfort we all are okay with, and we all value different things. Some people value cars. I don't really value cars that much, which is why I drive a more than 10-year-old car with stains on the seats. Well, the stains are gone now, but you get the point. Versus someone who's a car person, they may want to have a nicer car. So I don't know. Just to me, if you're someone who prioritizes being able to survive on one low income and raise your family, I can understand how this is an option. And yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think in the comments. Let me know. Is this something you'd be comfortable with, or would you have to be like the other couple where you have to first pay your debt off, let's say, and save money by both working first, getting a newer house, let's say, or renovating an older one, and then you live off one income? Or how would you go about that? Just out of curiosity.
There are three things, like three main things that my husband and I do to ensure that I can be the stay-at-home parent and he can be the one to go to work. And I thought I would share them with you because I get asked often enough, like, how do you guys do this on one income? And to be honest, it's pretty simple. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it is simple. First thing is we live within our means. I am not out buying every new trendy thing. A lot of my clothes are just like from years and years and years ago, and that's fine. The second thing we do is we live debt-free. The only debt we have is our mortgage. Cars we have purchased, we pay cash. I drive a Tahoe. Like, we are saving our money in order to be able to do this. And don't hear something I'm not saying. Please don't look at this and be like, oh, she's just privileged, and discount yourself and justify this. Thirdly, I know a lot of you are not going to like to hear this, but it's his job to make money. It's not mine. It is not my job to figure out how we're going to pay the mortgage. It's his. If he needs to get a second job, he's going to get a second job. If he needs to get a third job, he's going to get a third job. If he needs to work overtime, that's what it's going to be. And it may come out insensitive, but truthfully, it's his job to provide and my job to take care of our children.
Okay, so the first two things she said are very similar to everyone else. It's the third thing that raised a lot of tensions in the comment section. People had their opinions about it. As you can see, starting from the top, this person says, I will never allow the person I love to work 3 jobs just so I can stay home. You can work an evening shift if extra income is needed. He deserves to see his kids too. And that received 2,133 likes, which means a lot of people agree with it. Let's see what the replies are to that. It says, also I've been a stay-at-home mom and working mom. It's both our duties to provide for our kids, especially if we struggle on one income. Okay, they agree. I don't think she meant it literally. I think she was just trying to say they both know their role and the creator hearted this. Okay. So let's stick to that 1 second. Knowing their role. I think that is what she's basically trying to say. They've agreed, they've come to a consensus as a household that he brings home the bacon, she cooks the bacon. That's what works for them. It may not work for everybody else. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. And then maybe she's being a bit hyperbolic and she said it sounds insensitive, kind of sounds insensitive, but if that's what they agreed on, that's what they agreed on. Okay, so here's the comment I was looking for. So it says, cool. So definitely not her job to help at all with bringing in income. Question. Hopefully she remembers that when she's sick, don't ask your hubby to help with kids or making food. That's your job. So that's the flip side of the coin I wanted to see someone bring up, because she's saying, hey, his job to bring in money, not mine. He has to make it work. I don't care how he does it. If he has to get no sleep and work 15 jobs, so be it. We made this agreement. This person brings up a good counterpoint. So then what happens whenever you need help around the house? Is he expected to help around the house, or you have to just tough it up and get up even when you have a 104-degree fever and do the stuff around the house and help the kids, right? That's the question. And then the person below says she's helping him with income because her husband doesn't have to worry about the kids. How far in his job would he get if he had to leave work and pick up sick kids all the time? She supports his career. So This is true, but again, that's a more balanced perspective, which means that if that's the case, he is also helping her by raising the kids, because how far would she get raising those kids if she was not home to do that and she had to put them in daycare or whatever. So again, this is the divisive one. This is the dicey one, which is why I wanted to include it, because I mean, on lower incomes, you can make it work, but at what cost does it come, right? And that's why you have to be on one accord and be in agreement with whoever you're with that this is how we're doing things, whether that's the other couples or whether it's like them and it's like, hey, know your role and do your role. That's it. So let me know in the comment section what you think. What's your take on it? First of all, would it be something you wanted to do? Would you want to stay at home, whether you're the man or the woman, right? Either way it could go. And live off one income, especially if it's a lower income, and figure out ways to make it work by living a lifestyle like these folks live, or is it not for you? I'm actually curious to know. And with that, folks, as always, I appreciate you sticking around this far in the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.